Hi, my little artist. So for this year's Square One project, we're going to be making a cool colored dragonfly on top of a warm colored flower. We're going to start by filling in the information at the top, making sure that everything's nice and neat, and then you're ready to go. So we're going to work from the back to the front with this one. We're going to start with a circle that's going to be the center of our flower. So you want to place it right in the middle of your paper. Hold it down nice and tight. You don't want to trace that too hard because we are going to be erasing pieces of it because our dragonfly will be bigger than the center of the flower. For this project, you have to know how to overlap, which is putting one thing slightly on top of another. And you must draw light until you've got it right. So we're going to start our dragonfly kind of up here. Our dragonfly is going to go diagonal across the center of the flower. Start with 2 circles that have a space in between them. Those are going to be the dragonfly's eyes. Then you're going to make 2 curved lines, and that'll be the dragonfly's head. The eyes appear to be on top of the head. The body is going to be made in 2 pieces. We're going to go from the bottom of that curved line to make another circle that looks like it's hiding behind that top little head. We know that dragonflies have these long, skinny tails, so we're going to make kind of like an oval. Now you see we've got our first issue here. We need to erase the piece of the circle that's inside of the dragon's tail. Dragonflies have 2 sets of wings, so on the left side, out of the body, we're going to make a long, skinny wing and do the same thing on the other side. Erase the piece that doesn't belong. Now the bottom part of the wing is a little trickier. It's kind of like a tall, skinny triangle that comes out right next to the top wing. So you're going to come out, make like the bottom of a triangle, and come back in. I changed mine a little bit. I kind of made it a little curved here instead of so pointy. And now the other one. Now that we've got most of the body done, we're going to add some of the small details. It needs antennas. And we're going to make it look like these wings are 3D. So on the bottom of the top wing, you're going to make a long, skinny line so that it looks like you can see the side of the wing. On the other side, start at the curve and come back in like that. Same idea for the bottom one. You're going to start at the top curve and you're just going to follow the shape of your wing. We're going to add 4 curved lines to make it look like the body is round. Remember when we drew the cylinder, the curved lines give the illusion that the body is round. Now 3 little legs on each side coming from the body. They kind of look like cat whiskers. And they overlap the wings. So that was the hard part. There was your dragonfly. Now you're going to do the petals. Now we don't want them to be teeny tiny petals on this big center flower. It's going to be kind of coming off the page. So your petals should be big. About that size. And here you have your dragonfly on a flower picture. Now you're going to trace everything in Sharpie. So we're going to do a cool colored dragonfly That's purple, blue, and green on top of a warm color flower, red, orange, and yellow. So we're going to start with the cool colors first. We want to make sure that we're doing a wet on wet application, meaning you're going to take your brush, Mr. Brush, and you're going to wipe it on the edge, and you're not going to get any paint. You're going to gently put some paint over the face of your dragonfly, and then you can go ahead and grab some paint. This is kind of a blendy way of doing it instead of it being so precise. Remember that your dragonfly should be the cooler colors. See how it looks like it blends together really nicely? That's what happens when you use a wet on wet application. So again, I'm just going to dip my paintbrush in water, making sure that it's nice and clean, not getting any paint. And I'm going to wet where I'm going to paint. You don't want to see any puddles, you just want to wet the paper a little bit. If it's too wet, it'll start to bleed together, and that's never any good. To make a color lighter, you can add a little extra water to it and not grab very much. And there we have our cool colored dragonfly. We're also going to do the space in between the petals cool colored. And so there we have the cool portion of our dragonfly on warm color flower. So we're going to switch over to using the warm colors, the red, orange, and yellow, making sure that we've cleaned our water. That way we don't have any color mixing and all of our colors come out clean. We want to make sure that everything's pretty much dry before we go adding more paint, just because if it's too wet, they'll start to bleed together. We used a wet on wet technique to add all of the cool colors. So now we're going to do a wet on dry, meaning we're not going to wet the paper first, to add our red, orange, and yellow petals and flower. The center I'm going to do really yellow and then put a couple of orange dots in it. Now here's the tricky part, getting around all of your pieces. And there is your cool colored dragonfly on your warm color flower.